What's up, Henry? So when was the last time you saw her?
She was in the house.
She was in the bed?
Yeah.
When you went to bed last night?
I'ma still look.
Because you was watching her.
In the tranquil town of Davenport, Iowa, a sinister mystery unraveled on a fateful summer night.
The Iowa State Patrol issued the Amber Alert for 10-year-old Breasia Terrell early this morning.
A missing child. An untrustworthy stepfather.
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
And a frantic quest for the truth.
Can't go to sleep with that. Like, what the? It's 9:30 and she's nowhere.
This is the tale of Breasia Terrell,
I know she played basketball.
Yes, Carrie fan.
where each clue uncovers another layer of a chilling crime.
States Exhibit 822, which is being shown here.
Items in the closet.
Welcome back. Today, we'll explore the unsettling disappearance and heartbreaking murder of 10-year-old Breasia Terrell.
Once you picked up that skull, what did you determine?
That it was real.
Get ready, because this story is packed with astonishing twists and turns that will be hard to believe. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss any updates from our channel.
Not one of those videos can identify Breasia Terrell in that Impala. That is correct.
Now, let's reveal the dark secrets behind this heartbreaking case. Breasia Terrell was born on December 4th, 2009, in Davenport, Iowa. From the beginning, her mom, Aisha, knew she was something special.
And I mean, she's so playful, she's helpful, she's a big sister.
Breasia was affectionate, imaginative, playful, and carefree, always willing to help.
She likes to draw, she loves to sing, she loves Moana.
Aisha and Bria's father separated. But a few years later, Aisha started a relationship with a man named Henry Dinkin.
We were together for about two and a half, 3 years,
Soon after, they discovered they were expecting a baby boy.
And we also have an 8-year-old boy together.
Due to the boy's age, we will refer to him as FN in this story. Breasia adored FN and loved helping her parents take care of him. Even though Breasia and FN were half-siblings, Henry initially acted like a father to Breasia. He was supportive and helped raise her. But eventually, things between him and Aisha fell apart.
I raised Breasia.
Since how old was she?
My baby.
Okay.
After they separated, Henry didn't come around much anymore. It was hard for DL and Breasia to not have that father figure in their lives.
How long were you and Aisha together for?
Like 2 years.
However, Aisha had a large family who always stepped in to help, providing Breasia with lots of love and support. This helped her grow up with a good head on her shoulders.
Daughter, I know she played basketball.
Yes, Carrie fan.
In 2020, Breasia was 10 years old. Her family described her as having the cutest personality, lots of friends, and a love for expressing herself.
My shadow, she's amazing. She's a child anybody would want.
She was also a stickler for the rules, not only following them herself, but ensuring others did too.
But I mean, a strong girl and definitely a fighter. She's not going nowhere without a fight at all.
In June 2020, while the world was in chaos due to COVID-19, Aisha noticed her ex-boyfriend, Henry Dinkin, started coming around more often. Henry now had a new girlfriend, Andrea Culbertson, who was very different from him.
Would you describe your personality?
Quiet.
Mr. Dinkin's personality?
Very outspoken.
That summer, Henry started hosting neighborhood cookouts, bringing everyone together for good food and fun despite the ongoing pandemic.
We stayed close friends.
But you guys stayed close friends. So how long? So you guys
We've been friends. We've been friends all the way up to now.
Okay. And how long ago did you guys break up? Break it off?
It's like 6 years ago.
For the past few years, Henry hadn't been very involved in his son FN's life, so these cookouts were an opportunity for them to reconnect. Breasia would also join, spending time with Henry. On July 8, 2020, Aisha and FN were driving in Davenport when they saw Henry pull into a quick shop. Excited, FN pointed out his dad and told Aisha he wished he could see him more. So Aisha pulled over to let FN talk to his dad. Aisha then had a conversation with Henry about being more involved, and Henry agreed. He even offered to have FN stay with him over the weekend.
I had seen them, and they said they wanted to come and spend time with me.
The next morning, July 9th, Henry arrived around 11:02 a.m. to pick up FN. FN, not wanting to leave his sister Breasia behind, asked Henry if she could come too. Henry agreed, and Aisha, knowing Henry had been a part of Breasia's life from ages 2 to 5 and considering him family, allowed her to go. Aisha's other son, who was 13 years old, also asked if he could stay with Henry that weekend, but Henry said no to him, citing that he didn't have enough space in his car.
And actually, the 13-year-old boy, CS, expressed an interest in being able to go along as well. Henry Dinkins indicated that Breasia was welcome to come along, but he indicated that the 13-year-old boy, CS, could not come along, and the reason that he offered up for that was there was not enough room in his car for the 3 children. The day that he picked Detorius up and Breasia came along, he was operating a black Camaro, and that black Camaro had seating both for front seat passengers and back seat passengers.
There was ample space. Henry simply didn't want the 13-year-old to join, so Breasia and FN got into the car with Henry and left. After departing from home, Henry drove the kids to his friend's place, a man named Vincent Howard.
They went over. There was time spent there at the Howard residence. Both of the children spent the afternoon playing video games. Mr. Dinkins left the residence for a period of time, came back.
Henry stepped out of the house for a while FN and Breasia played video games. Eventually, he returned, and then they headed back home.
We went down to my cousin's house, and they played with my little cousins.
Henry had his own spot at an RV park in town, but he mostly stayed with his girlfriend in her 1-bedroom apartment. That evening, Henry and the kids arrived at his girlfriend's apartment complex, got out of the car, and went into Unit 8. Inside, Andrea was still working on her computer. She worked remotely for AT&T.
Andrea Culberson, Mr. Dinkins' girlfriend, she works for AT&T, and she actually works out of her home. She was working till sometime around 7:30 that evening. While she was working, Breasia was very, very interested in the type of work that she was doing, and Ms. Culberson was showing her how she performed her responsibilities for AT&T.
In the meantime, FN was in the living room engaged in video games.
To the house, they start playing the games at the house, and then they took their showers, and then they got into bed. Me and Andrea laid down.
Later, Aisha finished work and realized that Breasia didn't have any clothes for the weekend. She hurried home, packed a bag for Breasia, and drove it over to the apartment. Upon arriving, she called Henry to let him know she had arrived.
A complex that she was familiar with. She'd never been to the Culberson apartment before. At any rate, when she responded to the complex, she called to notify the parties that she was out in the parking lot, and Breasia came down to gather the clothing. Mom had the family pet with them, the dog. Breasia was really excited about it. In fact, Breasia wanted to take the dog with her up to the apartment. Mom had to call her back and say, no, the family pet's going home. But at any rate, it was one of those of give the clothes, love you, have a wonderful time. And then Aisha left with Breasia going back inside the apartment complex, or I should say apartment number 8, with the clothing.
It was raining heavily, so their interaction was brief. Aisha saw her daughter hurry back to apartment 8, unaware that this would be the last time she'd ever see Breasia alive. Later that evening, Aisha went home and took a bath. It had been a long day, and it was the first night in some time that she didn't have her children with her.
She got back to the apartment, was very tired, having worked all day, took a bath, and very simply, she fell asleep on the couch, and she was out for the evening. At some point, unbeknownst to her, The children, DL and Breasia, neither of which had cell phones, Culberson apartment. She had received a telephone call from Henry Dinkins' phone that was unanswered. And then the caller became very apparent because then there was a text message that came through from Breasia saying, "Good night, Mommy, I love you." All right. So that was somewhere around 10, 11 o'clock in the evening.
The next morning, Aisha was completely unaware that her life was about to be turned upside down. She received a text from Henry saying, "I just woke up and Bria is gone." Panicked, Aisha began calling him repeatedly, trying to figure out what had happened, but he didn't answer. When he finally did, he explained that they had all gone to sleep, and by the time they woke up, Bria was missing.
When she called me and she said, "Mom, Breasia missing," I'm like, "What you mean Breasia missing?" She said, "Henry said Breasia missing."
Henry was speechless, while Aisha was frantic.
What was he communicating to you about his location and what he was doing?
He wasn't necessarily communicating anything. He said that he was out looking for her and he was going to make a police report.
Okay. When you spoke with Mr. Dinkins, did it become clear to you that he had not yet reported Breasia as missing?
Yes.
He mentioned that he was in the car with FN heading to the police station. Aisha ended the call and contacted the police herself.
I want to pick up at the point in time where you described sitting in the back room and you were crying.
Yes.
There at Checkers. What did your manager encourage you to do?
He encouraged me to get into the car and go downtown and figure out what was going on.
By going downtown, what do you mean?
Like going down to the police department.
Did you actually leave Checkers to travel down to the Davenport Police Department?
I did.
All right.
However, on her way, she saw Henry's car speeding through traffic in the opposite direction of the police station.
I noticed Mr. Dinkins' Impala flying down the opposite way, making a really hard turn on, I think it's a left turn on Eastern.
Aisha did a U-turn, pulled up behind him, and began honking her horn.
I was speeding behind him, honking the horn. I was calling his phone, and when I finally got him on the phone, he said that he was headed to Jersey Meadows because they wanted to talk to him out there. And I was still on his bumper, honking the horn, and we had pulled over by the McDonald's on.
Henry began babbling about not knowing his home address and needing to turn around to get it, which didn't make any sense. Aisha also noticed that Henry's shoes were covered in mud. She and Henry got back into their cars, with Aisha following him to the apartment. They also contacted the Davenport PD, and an officer was dispatched to meet them.
And Henry lives here?
Yeah, I guess so. This is where he told me to come.
Okay.
He don't even know how long she's even been gone.
An officer arrived outside the apartment at 8:55 a.m. After gathering information about Bria, Henry approached the officer with his son, FN, beside him.
What's up, Henry? So when was the last time you saw her?
She was in the house.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw her?
9:30.
Last night?
9:30.
Okay. Okay.
With him?
Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
She was in the bed when I woke up this morning.
She was in the bed?
Yeah.
When you went to bed last night? Okay.
This is crazy, man. This is like, you know what I'm saying? I know she fucking going fucking hysterical, big brother.
Yeah. D-I-N.
K-I-N-S.
But then Henry couldn't remember his address, didn't know his own phone number, and had also lost his daughter.
Is this your home address?
No.
What's your address?
It's down by Boston Carina.
I just...
Yeah, I just know that.
You don't know your address?
I don't know the full address.
Do you know your phone number?
Hell no, I don't even know that either. I swear to God, I don't.
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
No, for real. I'm finna
So,
give it to you now. You think I'll be lying, but...
Well, no, it's just... It's kind of...
Because I don't call myself.
I know, but you gotta know your number. You gotta know your address.
I don't...
So this is your girlfriend's address here?
It's just a good friend.
Okay.
When it comes to any details, he can't remember anything for sure.
What was she last wearing?
In the bed.
What you have on, some shorts?
What color?
I don't remember. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't
What's her height and weight, you think?
She's a little taller than he is.
She's this tall.
Okay.
She's a little taller than that. She's probably about like this here.
Okay. What's her hair look like?
She has dreads. Long.
Dreads.
Long.
Yep.
Long and dreads hair?
Yep.
Like shoulder length or
Down.
middle of the back?
Down here.
Okay. Mid-back, dreads. Right? Is that how we would label that?
Yes.
She had shorts on.
Did she still have a white shirt on?
She had she had the shirt that you gave her.
The white shirt.
All white?
All white t-shirt, yep.
After collecting the information, the officer asks Henry where he has looked for Breia. Henry responds that he hasn't spoken to any of the neighbors because he doesn't know them, but he has been driving around searching for her.
I'm going to ask you, who have you called? What doors have you knocked on?
I don't know these people out here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I called her.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And she told me she was at work. At first, I was riding around looking. And then me and my son started riding around looking.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then,
So how long ago has it been, an hour?
It's been a couple hours.
Couple hours?
Couple hours.
Okay.
The officer then directs his attention to Aisha.
Have we called family?
I've called everybody. I have my uncle out riding around. My mom's on her way out here. My friends on their way out here.
We've been every fucking where.
And she's gonna be with a friend inside some apartment.
That's
most
why
likely.
I said I'm gonna still look.
Okay.
We don't know anybody out here though. That's the thing.
Okay.
She would have never.
How many?
She would have never. First of all, she would have never woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and she would have never.
What you mean? 8 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just saying.
That ain't what I said. I never said.
I know you
guys,
didn't say that.
this isn't the time to fight.
Exactly. I don't give a about you walking, nigga. You lost her though.
How did I fucking lose?
Because you was watching her, Henry. What the do you mean?
Aisha then chooses to walk away, leaving the officer bewildered about how to assist them.
Hey.
I'm going, sir. Come on, D.
Listen to me. Well, you guys gotta come together right now. This isn't a time to fight about it. Okay? So, well, hey, if you... how am I supposed to... What do you want me to do?
I got everything, bro. I got nothing. You see how she stepped on me? You know what
I mean...
I
got no picture. I got no... What do you want me to do?
What am I supposed to do?
Right.
You know
I get it.
Henry,
I get it.
All I can do is look.
I get it, Henry.
Naturally, Aisha was upset, so she decided to go home to help her family with the search. After Aisha leaves, the officer goes up to the apartment to check if Breia might be hiding somewhere. At this point, he also talks to Henry's girlfriend, Andrea, who has stayed in the apartment the whole time.
Hi there. Are you Andrea?
Yeah.
Okay, Andrea. What's your date of birth, Andrea? So, tell me about, like, when was the last time you saw her?
She was here.
When?
What time was I? I fell asleep like around 11 midnight. She was here. She was in bed asleep.
Okay. And you guys never heard her come down, walk out? There's no forced entry or anything like that?
No forced entry,
okay. Do you mind if I just come in and take a quick look? I'm not concerned about anything else. I just want to come in because probably 50% of the time we still find them inside the place when this happens. And
well, I kind of do my place kind of wreck right now.
What's that?
My place is kind of in a wreck. But
Listen, I go in all sorts of places. I don't care how big.
Is he aware of this?
What's that?
Is he aware of this?
Yeah. What's her name again? Was there any fights or arguments or anything last night? Bree is her name? Where was she sleeping at? Your bed? So where were you guys sleeping at last night? You guys slept out here? Can you look in the closet again?
That's all clothes.
I don't know, I'm just telling you, you'd be surprised what we've...
I know, right?
So she was sleeping in the bed with her brother? And you guys slept out here?
Breia was not found anywhere in the apartment, so the officer asks Andrea to come out and assist in the search.
Okay, are you going to come out and help look or not?
By the time the officer finishes searching the apartment and steps outside, Henry Dinkin is gone. He left without informing anyone of his destination.
But I was right there with the officer when he called.
Yeah, but then you left.
Because she left, and it was Aisha. Oh. And it made me mad because she was, basically blaming it all on me.
Before heading to the station for the interview, he went to his mom and sister's apartment. Notably, he was wearing the same clothes but had changed his shoes. While Henry was being interviewed by the police, other officers were canvassing the area around the apartment. As the hours passed, their hope of finding Breia diminished. After talking with her family, it became evident that she hadn't run away on her own.
With respects to running off, I was told by Aisha Langford, the mother of Breasia, that she does not run off. She would not leave an area unfamiliar. It wasn't something that she did even when she was at home in familiar territory. It was not something that she had ever done.
Officers also reviewed security footage from nearby businesses to see if Breia was captured on camera walking around. Instead of finding Breia, they saw Henry's maroon Chevy Impala driving around town in the early morning hours of July 10th, 2020. When Henry arrived at the police station, one of the first questions detectives had was the whereabouts of the Impala.
But is her car parked out front?
No.
No? Where's her Impala at?
Her Impala's with my homie right now. So.
Following that, the detective inquired about Henry's son and the nature of his relationship with Breia.
His mother is Aisha Langford.
Aisha Langford.
Okay. And then do you have any other biological?
No, I raised Breasia.
Since how old is she?
My baby.
Okay. And so you raised her with Aisha?
Yes.
How long were you and Aisha together for?
Like 2 years. But we stayed close friends.
Eventually, the detective got Henry to describe what happened that night. Henry admitted that after the kids went to bed, he left the apartment in the middle of the night to visit a friend. However, when his friend wasn't home, Henry returned. And that's when he noticed that Breia was missing.
And then when I left, I think I went down to Lil Ben's house, but nobody was there. And when I came back, I did a little look around. I didn't see Bree. No, that wasn't that time. I don't remember. No, that's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie. It wasn't even at that time. What time was it? I don't ever look at the time, so I'm really confused with the time. But I know when I went and looked for Bree, so I only seen Lil Dink in the bed.
Okay.
And I left, so I went moving around, and I
left the apartment.
The apartment, yeah, and went out and about, where she was living. And out there in I don't know the apartment buildings out there. I don't know.
When he returned, Andrea was awake.
When I realized it, like I said, I went looking around. Then when I came back, Andrea was up.
Henry admitted that he went out again to buy cigarettes from a quick shop, and when he returned, his son FN was awake. He said they spent the rest of the morning looking for Breia until he finally decided to call Aisha.
When I texted his mom, she was at work, and she was like, I'm like, hey, Bree's missing. She's like, well, you stop playing with me. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing with me, Henry. So I'm like, man, no, I'm not playing. I'm for real. And she was like, she was like, stop playing with me. I said, look, man, I'm not playing. So I gave Dink the phone. Dink told her, like, Mom, you know, we don't know where she at. So then he handed me the phone back, and I'm like, I got to talk to him, like, man, your mom mad at me. He said, Dad, I don't understand why mom mad at you. You know, you haven't done nothing. I'm like, I mean, but I'm still responsible. You know what I'm saying?
Aisha couldn't believe that Breia was missing. At first, she thought Henry was joking. But when she realized the truth, she became very angry.
Me and her met up, and she was like...
You and Aisha met up?
Yeah,
Where at?
At Burger King.
Okay.
And Aisha was like really upset, and I said, you know what I'm saying, I understand how you coming, I feel what you're saying right now, but you know, you stressing out right now, it's not going to help us out right now, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We have to figure this shit out, you know. So I was like, well, you're responsible, you know, and it made me feel so fucking bad because, you know, I am responsible, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I just, like I said, I was like lost. Didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say to her. I was lost for words. I couldn't even talk to her really.
Aisha then chooses to dial 911, and that's when the police officer arrived at Andrea's apartment.
I'm gonna call somebody to come out there to Andrea's apartment. I said, okay. You know what I'm saying? So we went out there. When the dude approached, you know what I'm saying?
The dude as in?
The officer.
Okay. So did you call 911?
No, she did. I told her I was going to go to the police station at first. She said, no, let's go to the apartment. You know what I'm saying? So I said, well, we can call at the apartment. You know what I'm saying? And Aisha was like, because first I'm thinking like, she ain't really missing. You know what I mean? Something, you know what I'm saying? Maybe something, I don't know. But once it really set in that can't nobody find her, that's when it hit me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she's missing.
The officer was curious about the moment Henry became aware that Breia was missing. But once again, Henry couldn't specify the exact time.
Quick shop with the cigarettes, and then what happened after that?
Nothing.
No, well, okay. So but then you got back.
Then like I said, I got back. Oh man, I don't know what time it was, sir.
Okay, that's fine. We can move past that.
All I know is,
at one point or another, you noticed that Bree is not in the
room.
Okay. And so, what do you do immediately after you notice Bree's not?
I go outside.
Go outside. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing I did. You know what I'm saying? You know, I went outside.
Okay. And then, like, just around the area, or did you get in a car and drive somewhere?
I went around the area first.
Okay.
And then I started moving around, like, trying to get close within the areas. You know what I mean? Trying to look to see if she was walking, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
And for the sake of, I'm not looking to hand me off on a driving charge. If you went and drove and tried to find her in certain places,
I went in the area where, out there, you know what I'm saying, like, trying to see
around the apartment complex.
No, like outside. You know what I'm saying? Like when I pulled in, I would have
like those businesses and stuff like that.
No, like the streets.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm
the
saying?
Nearby streets.
I don't know what streets. I mean, I don't. Like the streets that would go back, the streets that would go forward. You know what I'm saying? It was like by Blockbusters.
As evident, Henry is having difficulty remembering precisely what he did that morning, which is concerning. He also informs the detective that after searching for Breia and talking with the police officer, he drove the Impala to his mother's residence.
Your car not here, you know what I mean?
I came straight here.
I get that, but the car that you were driving was the Impala, and the Impala's not here.
I didn't say I was driving the Impala.
Well, you came in the Impala.
I never said I was driving the Impala.
So you left the apartments in the Impala, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at what point did you not have the Impala anymore?
What do that got to do with the Impala? I mean,
because you left there in a vehicle, and that's.
I mean, I'm not trying to make it harder on you.
Yeah, I get it.
But I mean, literally, as for the situation with the driving aspect, you know,
I'm not looking for the driving. I'm looking for the car.
I'm keeping that solo with the.
No, that's fine. I'm more concerned about the car.
I mean, if you want to check the car, you can check the car.
Yeah, we would like to do that.
Yes,
probably,
you can, without a problem.
Where is the car currently?
It's reachable.
Reachable as in.
I can get it to you guys at any time. That's basically what I'm saying.
And also to backtrack.
I mean, one thing about me, I mean, like I said, if I had any issues, I would have never came down. You know what I mean?
Interestingly, Henry stated that his friend had brought him to the police station in the Impala, but shortly after the interview, officers discovered the Impala parked approximately 1 block from the station. It was evident that Henry had driven there independently and then walked over to the police station to prevent them from searching the vehicle. Returning to the interview, the next detail the detective sought was whom Henry had called and texted that morning.
And so, was there any texts going around like about the situation, or is it just the phone calls?
I think there was like 1 or 2 texts.
1 or 2 texts?
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And so would you be fine if we downloaded the phone to have the call logs and the texts?
For what reason?
To corroborate everything here about the call logs and the text. It helps everyone out.
Download my phone.
To get the call logs to show that those calls were made at those certain times.
I can show you my phone. I can just show you my phone.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? You want to see? I can just show you my phone. I mean, I can just open up my phone and let you go on my phone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Passcode to your phone.
Just give me my phone and I'll open it up for you.
Okay. Will you open up right in front of you?
Right. Yeah, I'll open it right here. Cool.
So if you want to just take while I go grab your phone. If you want to just take a closer look, and if there's anything that's sticking out, be sure to mark it, okay?
I mean, what is there to stick out? But
like, for sure, places that you went, for sure.
At this juncture, the detective sets a map on the table and instructs Henry to indicate all the places he visited that morning while searching for Breasia. Once the detective steps out to fetch Henry's phone, Henry refrains from interacting with the marker placed before him. When the detective returns with the phone, Henry becomes extremely anxious as he enters his password.
Why are you looking at me to do my password?
Well, that's what I asked.
No, I said I will open it for you.
Yeah,
but
I'm
not going to give you my password.
Okay.
I will open it for you so you can look at my phone, but I'm not going to give you my password.
Okay. And then you're just going to lock it?
Yes, right after you finish looking.
Yeah.
I will let you look in there. I have no problem with you looking.
Okay.
That's something I don't have no problem.
Okay.
It's evident that there's something on his phone that he wishes to keep private. Finally, he recalls his password during Henry's questioning. Throughout the interrogation, the entire Davenport community was diligently searching for Breasia Terrell, a 10-year-old girl. Sadly, there were no sightings of her. However, there were numerous clues. For instance, Henry's Chevrolet Impala was observed moving back and forth between various locations in Davenport from 2:13 a.m. until the police were notified. The narrative he provided investigators didn't align, prompting strong suspicions towards him. Search warrants were eventually issued for Henry's apartment, car, and RV. Despite their efforts, Breasia remained missing by nightfall. During their search of the area, they discovered a child's flip-flop, but no sign of Breasia.
So there was a flip-flop that they found down there, and we just want to make sure if it's something she would wear or not, if it was hers, okay?
Nevertheless, Breasia's mother Aisha verified that the flip-flop did not belong to Breasia. It was at that moment that Aisha understood that the day was nearing its conclusion, and her daughter had still not been located.
But that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
So
Thank you.
we're going down to the station. So with everything,
No, that's not hers.
so there's behind the scenes type stuff. Okay, we're doing search warrants. We're doing pinging the phones. Okay. Okay. But we have his mobile home down there. The FBI is down there. Everybody is working on it, okay? It doesn't end, okay?
I know, but it's 9:31 and I haven't heard from her.
No, I know. No, that's not her shoe. It's
No,
not her
we
shoe.
just had to make sure, okay?
Yeah, but we appreciate it.
I can't go to sleep with that. Like, what the? It's 9:30 and she's nowhere. Nowhere. I can't even talk to him.
Following a thorough search of Henry's RV, authorities discovered nothing that could definitively link him to Brea's disappearance.
This is State's Exhibit 810.
This is basically from the door looking towards the rear of the camper.
And can you just describe what different items are being shown here in this photograph?
This shows the kitchen and then a hallway leading to a bedroom.
State's Exhibit 812. What's being shown here?
This is from the doorway looking towards the front of the camper.
And State's Exhibit 813.
This is basically standing in the kitchen with a view towards the back of the camper.
They did discover something unusual in the bedroom.
This is basically from the entry of the bedroom into the bedroom at the rear of the camper.
So 817. What's being shown here?
This is the bed and the exterior windows.
State's Exhibit 820. What's being shown here?
Underneath the bed
And what does appear to be underneath the bed?
appears to be a small table.
And in the upper left-hand corner of this photograph, what is being shown?
There's a bottle of bleach cleaner.
Showing you State's Exhibit 821. What is being shown here?
This is the closet in the bedroom.
State's Exhibit 822. What's being shown here?
Items in the closet.
They came across additional cleaning supplies that seemed suspicious.
Now, when you were in this RV, approximately how tall are you?
I am 6 foot tall.
While you were standing there looking at the microwave, were you able to observe that machete just visually from how high you are, or how tall you are, excuse me?
Yes, I could see the machete from my height, yes.
Although the evidence was mostly circumstantial, they identified sufficient probable cause for an arrest. Nonetheless, he was still considered their top suspect. Additionally, Henry Dinkin was listed as a registered offender in 1990 when he was 17 years old. He was found guilty of third-degree sexual assault involving a minor. Even while incarcerated, Henry refused to confess to what happened to Brea. Despite being in jail, a news story about her disappearance emerged, prompting Henry's cellmate to assert that he made a peculiar comment after seeing the report.
Dickens said to me they would never find her. The story came on and broadcasted that they were continually looking for her, and he would state that they're never going to find her.
Henry's cellmate reported that although Henry never confessed to killing Brea, his comment was deeply unsettling. It was evident that he knew exactly where Brea's body was located. Henry was confident that authorities would never find her, but his assumption proved wrong. About 8 months after Brea's disappearance, on March 22, 2021, 3 friends gathered for a fishing trip at Credit Island in West Davenport. After parking their car, they descended a steep embankment towards the pond. One of the men noticed something white among the brush, and upon closer inspection, they realized it was a human skull. They also observed hair at the scene and recognized the victim as a young African-American girl. They immediately called 911, and Davenport PD responded swiftly. After processing the crime scene, authorities transported the body to the medical examiner for an autopsy, which revealed that the victim had succumbed to multiple gunshot wounds.
Yes, it's common procedure once all the elements that are on the surface there are recovered to take a trowel and scrape the soil. Sometimes over periods of time, elements can kind of sink into the soil. So I did that about a centimeter deep in that area of the remains.
As a result of that process, did you make any further discoveries?
Yes, I found a few additional teeth and then 2 artifacts that were later determined to be bullets.
Okay.
The first bullet hit her jaw and penetrated through to her spine.
There was a semicircular defect to the inferior portion of the left mandible, which was consistent with a bullet impact traveling left to right through that mandible portion.
Okay.
Using the skin tissue left on her leg, they conducted a DNA test and matched it with Brea's mother, Aisha. This confirmed that the body discovered on Credit Island was indeed Brea.
We've received confirmation that the remains are those of Breasia Terrell.
They also discovered a revolver, and a ballistics test suggested it was likely used in the murder. Throughout their investigation, they uncovered a significant amount of evidence linking Henry to Brea's disappearance and now her murder, leading to charges being filed against him as prosecutors prepared for trial. According to authorities, this is what happened on July 9th and 10th, 2020. After Aisha dropped off a bag of clothes for her daughter Brea and her brother FN, they relaxed and played video games in apartment 8. As the night progressed, Henry asked the kids to take a bath. Afterward, instead of putting on pajamas, Brea was given a large white t-shirt of Henry's. They all had dinner together, and Brea was the first to go to bed. FN and Brea shared the bedroom that night, while Henry and his girlfriend Andrea slept on an air mattress in the living room.
Ms. Culberson had a blow-up mattress that was out in the living room on the floor where she and Mr. Dinkins were to sleep. Breasia was the first one to go to bed, and from the living room you could actually look through the door of the bedroom and you could see the bed, because if you're standing at the doorway of the bedroom, very simply you look forward and the bed is straight ahead of you.
Brea went to bed by herself at around 11:30 p.m. Andrea settled onto the air mattress in the living room, and her last memory before falling asleep was of Henry telling his son to turn off the video game and go to bed, which he did.
So Breasia goes to bed first. Andrea Culberson lays down to go to sleep. Notorious, she can hear Mr. Dinkins say to him that he has so much time to play the video game and that he's going down to bed. And then Notorious was in the bedroom asleep.
Shortly after midnight, FN joined his sister in bed, while Henry settled on the couch but couldn't sleep. It seems Henry had some troubling thoughts on his mind. Around 2 a.m., he decided to act on those thoughts and woke Brea. She got up, and they headed towards the front door. Andrea was sound asleep, but FN was apparently awake and aware of what was happening. He saw his father and sister leaving the apartment, with Henry talking to Brea about cars. Then Henry and Brea got into his maroon Chevy Impala, and surveillance footage recorded the car heading north on Schmid Road at 2:23 a.m.
5:50 and going up to the 6 o'clock hour, that maroon Chevy Impala travels west past the Quick Stop. That maroon Chevy Impala is then identified from video surveillance at a residence on Judson Court, which actually the video surveillance camera was focused out on Eastern. So the rear of that residence faced Eastern.
A short time later, the camera captured the Impala parked at Henry's RV site, located at 743 Schmidt Road. His RV was quite basic, lacking electricity and running water, with only a bed inside. While they didn't find Brea's DNA there, they did discover bleach.
What's being shown here?
Underneath the bed.
And what does appear to be underneath the bed?
Appears to be a small table.
And in the upper left-hand corner of this photograph, what is being shown?
There's a bottle of bleach cleaner.
To the prosecution, it was evident that Henry lured Breia into the RV and assaulted her. He knew he couldn't do it in the apartment with Andrea and FN present, so he took her to the RV, believing he could carry out the attack unnoticed. After the assault, he cleaned the RV thoroughly to cover his tracks. Henry realized afterward that Breia might tell someone about what happened.
Aisha was a truth teller. She was a child that would tell the truth no matter what. And I think her grandmother's description was, she described her as a tattletale. And the state asserts, when you consider these circumstances and you consider the purchase of bleach and the use of bleach, this child was assaulted in this area. But then it became very clear to Mr. Dinkins that there was going to be no way for him to control this child. And so therefore, it forced him to take further action, which was the murdering of Breasia Terrell.
Meanwhile, back at the Jersey Meadow apartments, Henry's girlfriend Andrea woke up at 3 a.m. to use the bathroom. Oddly, when she reached the bathroom, she noticed that both Breia and Henry were missing. FN was in bed, but Breia was not there. Andrea immediately felt a sense of dread and reached for her phone to call Henry and find out where he was.
After you fell asleep, was there any point in the night that you woke up?
Yes.
When did that occur?
It was like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nature called. So I went and I kind of glanced over. Had no glasses on, so everything was kind of fuzzy. So I saw that she was not there. So I was like, okay, let me go get my glasses so I can see. And I felt on the bed. So I'm like, okay, she's not here. And my first reaction, call Mr. Dinkins.
However, as she went to call him, she saw his phone sitting on the counter. Andrea admitted feeling sick to her stomach and couldn't bring herself to go back to bed.
What areas did you check?
I checked the bathroom again, just in case. I checked the bedroom. I checked the living room. I checked the kitchen. I checked everywhere.
Breia and her boyfriend missing, Andrea just waited in the living room. Then, at 3:30 a.m., she heard the front door open.
Did Mr. Dinkins suggest that there was some type of medical emergency for Breasia?
No.
Did Mr. Dinkins communicate to you that he would have reached out to her mother because the child wanted to go home?
No.
Was there any type of emotional disturbance within the apartment to suggest that Breasia had gotten upset in the middle of the night and wanted to go home?
Absolutely not.
All right. From there, then, when you noticed that Mr. Dinkins was gone, you noticed that Breasia was gone, what did you do?
First thing I did was try to call him. Mr. Dinkins.
What happened when you tried to call him?
It rang and it went to voicemail.
All right. Did you try to call him more than once?
Yes.
What happened?
Same thing.
Did you subsequently discover something?
Did I discover something? No.
About his phone?
Oh, it was off.
Okay.
After I got done calling him, there was no answer. I stayed up.
Okay.
I didn't have his phone. I didn't have Miss Langsford's number, so I couldn't call her. So I just stayed up.
Okay. When you say that you stayed up, what room were you located in?
Living room.
Okay. When you stayed up, did you turn the lights on?
No.
Describe then the environment within the apartment.
So when I got done going to the bathroom, it was dark. No lights, nothing was on. And then heard someone softly coming up the stairs. I guess he thought I was asleep.
Unaware that Andrea was already awake, Henry entered the apartment. The first thing she noticed was that he was wearing different clothes.
When I saw him, he had on a whole different outfit. So I don't know.
All right. Let's talk about the description of his outfit. Do you recall what Mr. Dinkins was wearing when you fell asleep?
I do.
What was he wearing when you fell asleep?
Kind of like a white beater and colorful shorts, like white, blue, and pink.
All right. And then when he came up the stairs, what do you remember, if anything, about what he had on?
I would say like a white t-shirt and some blue shorts that look like bandana pattern and some sneakers.
When Henry reached the top, Andrea began asking questions about where he had been and what he was doing, but he remained silent.
I was like, what's going on? Where you going? What's going on? And he's like, I'll be back.
Instead of responding to her, Henry walked into the closet to retrieve something. Andrea couldn't see what he took as he tucked it into his waistband, but the prosecution suggested it was his gun.
Inside the room in the closet, grabbing something. What is he grabbing? I do not know.
At this moment, Andrea glanced out of their bedroom window and saw Breasia standing outside next to the Chevy Impala.
I looked out the window and saw Breasia outside of the car. So now my heart's like, okay, she is with him, she's safe, but yeah, it just seemed weird to me, but I didn't know what to say.
All right.
Although relieved to see Breasia unharmed, Andrea still couldn't shake her unease. Henry then left the apartment with Breasia.
Did you see him go down the staircase?
Yes.
Did you continue to watch out the window?
I did.
What did you observe happening?
Car pulling off.
And was Breasia in the car when it pulled off?
Now, windows are tinted, you can't see through.
Okay, so at the point in time that he's in the closet, had you looked away from the window?
Yes.
Okay, and then when he's going down the stairs, do you go back to the window?
I do.
Had he already gotten inside the vehicle?
Yes.
And was at the point in time that he was pulling away?
Yes.
At the point in time he was pulling away, did you see Breasia anywhere in the parking lot?
No.
About 2 minutes later, at 3:33 a.m., the Chevy Impala pulled into a nearby quick shop for gas. During his interrogation, Henry admitted to stopping at the shop, but claimed he was only buying cigarettes. However, surveillance footage from inside the store shows that he also purchased $35 worth of gas, paying with cash. Henry and Breasia drove out to Credit Island. Eventually, Henry parked the car by the roadside and instructed Breasia to get out, directing her toward the woods and ordering her to follow him in the pouring rain. They went down a steep embankment toward a large pond. Once deep enough into the woods, Henry shot Breasia twice, with the gunshots going unheard. He then left her body in the woods and quickly returned to the car. By this time, it was around 4:30 a.m. When Henry started the engine, he realized the car was stuck in the mud due to the heavy rain. Panicked, he got out of the vehicle and tried to flag down help.
There was a vehicle?
No.
A person?
A person.
Okay. Describe that person for me.
Black man wearing white shorts, white shoes.
Okay, describe his physical features. Was he tall, short, heavy-set, thin?
Similar to my height.
How height? What's your height?
6'2", about 6 foot, little heavier build than me.
Okay.
I mean 250, 260.
This is 4:30 in the morning?
Real close.
And this guy is just walking down the highway?
No, he jumped out in the lane in front of me.
Okay, what did he do?
I stopped the truck. Good thing I was paying attention, or else could have had an accident.
Sure.
He come up to the driver window and asked me to pull him out of the ditch.
All right, so you're pretty close to this guy?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you roll your window down. He comes up to the driver's side window?
Correct.
Did you notice anything about his face? Could you describe his face for me?
Black man.
Was he wearing glasses?
I don't recall them. He had a mole right here.
Fortunately, a passing motorist named Jared Brink stopped to help.
What's going on? How do you encounter this person in the ditch?
It was about 4:30 in the morning. I had a chain in the back of my pickup. I was lucky. It was a 4-foot chain. I crawled underneath the front of his car, hooked it up to the cross member, and drove my truck, and it just come out easy.
So when you jerked him out real quick, you unhooked the chains and drove away?
Uh-huh.
Yes?
Yes.
Did you ever get the guy's name?
No.
Was there anybody with the guy?
No.
Could you see inside his car?
Yes.
There wasn't a child with him?
No.
And was this time of day, this is your usual shift, like 5 o'clock a.m.?
Somewhere around there. I'm a supervisor, so I come and go as I see fit.
So after you pulled it out, Did you have a conversation with the guy? Did he say thank you and stuff or offer you any money?
He was very appreciative, and more than once he offered me $100, and I didn't accept it. I just said, do something nice for somebody else, and went on my way.
Had you ever seen this guy before?
No.
Have you ever seen him since?
No.
How did you become involved? How did you then become involved in this particular case?
It was after they found the body.
Okay.
I was at a friend's house having a beer, and that's when he said they found a body, and we were talking about it.
It's important to note that after Brea's case received media attention, Jared came forward with his account.
What's weird about that is that I pulled a guy out of the ditch there about a year ago around that area.
Okay, so you saw a picture.
No.
You just said you pulled a guy out.
A guy out. He asked me what kind of a car it was, and I remembered what kind of car it was. He had his wife send me a picture of the flyer that was posted around town or whatever, and that's when I decided I had to call the police department.
So the car looks similar.
Identical.
Pardon me?
Identical.
Did anybody ever have you look at a photograph or a photographic array and try to identify the person who was with the car?
I can't recall.
So no one had you look at a picture and say, is this the guy?
I can't recall, no.
But you recall it being a cool day, right?
It seemed cool for shorts.
Then additionally, as far as how you describe this individual's physical build, how would you describe his physical build?
6 foot tall, 250.
Okay, and when you were speaking with law enforcement, do you recall telling them that you didn't remember him being that bigly built, but they did have a big frame?
Yes.
Now, during your discussions with law enforcement, did they ask you whether or not you would be able to pick him out of a photo lineup? And you indicated that you didn't know if you would be able to do that?
Yeah, I don't remember that part of the conversation.
And I've got a report here of your interview with the officer. I don't know if it would help you if you would want to review that real quickly. That way we could definitively put that issue to rest.
He is 48.
Yeah, at 45 it went downhill bad.
All right. And the time frame then that you would have had contact with this individual, would that have been about what time?
That morning.
Right.
About 4:20, 4:15, and 4:30 somewhere.
Jared handed over his cell phone to the authorities, allowing them to confirm his presence in the area at 4:30 a.m. on July 10th. He noted that no one else was in the Chevy Impala during their encounter, just minutes after Henry had committed the crime.
Did you ever get the guy's name?
No.
Was there anybody with the guy?
No.
Could you see inside his car?
Yes.
There wasn't a child with him?
No.
After getting unstuck, Henry drove back to his apartment at the Jersey Meadow Apartments via Highway 61. At around 5:30 a.m., 8-year-old FN woke up again, and Andrea observed that he was crying.
He woke up, and I told him, your sister's gone, and then he started tearing up.
He started tearing up?
Mm-hmm.
Explain what you mean by that.
Like starting to cry.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Tearing up.
Yeah.
All right. Then when Detoria started to tear up, or DL started to tear up, goodness, what did you do to try and calm the child down?
I told him to come in the living room and lay down, because I don't want you to come in the living room. And he did. And then not too long after, Mr. Jenkins shows up, grabs him, and they go.
All right.
Andrea and FN sat in the living room, and at 5:55 a.m., Henry returned home alone, looking calm. Andrea kept asking questions, but Henry didn't provide any answers.
Did you ask him about Breasia and where she was at?
I did not.
Okay. Did Mr. Dinkins make any statements to you about there were issues that had developed?
No.
You don't recall any of that?
No.
All right.
He told FN to grab his bag, and the two left. Initially, Henry tried to leave his phone behind, but Andrea insisted that he take it with him.
And once it charged up and he came, I'm like, here, take your phone so I can call you.
All right.
And he took it.
All right.
Unaware of the situation, FN accompanied his father as they drove around for about 45 minutes. They then went to the Walmart in Clinton instead of the one in Davenport, assuming their purchases wouldn't be traced.
Dinkins first enter the parking lot in that maroon Chevy Impala?
It's going to be coming up here shortly, right before 6:50.
Okay, and then can you give us a sense of what direction it will be coming into the parking lot?
I can point to it on the screen.
Is that the maroon Chevy Impala that's coming in?
That is.
Okay.
Come from the top right to the left of the screen.
And then the time generally would be what?
6:50.
How is Mr. Dinkins dressed?
Gold shoes. Appears to be the same shorts that we had him, that he was wearing when he came down to the police station. White T-shirt and then a black do-rag.
He headed directly to the cleaning supply section.
Where are we at in the store now?
Just from the view of the video footage, it looks like there's cleaning supplies along the left aisle, and then looks like some clothing on the right of the screen.
Has Mr. Dinkins come into view yet?
He's just now coming into view on the top part of the screen, and he has a cart with him, and he's walking over towards the cleaners section.
Okay, what was the time?
7:06.
What is Mr. Dinkins doing at this point in time?
He's placing 2 bottles of Clorox bleach into his cart.
Okay. What was the size of those bottles of Clorox bleach?
81 ounces each.
And were those smaller in sizes compared to the bleach that was found in the apartment of Andrea Culberson?
It was the same size.
While Henry bought bleach inside, FN waited in the car.
When you and Henry got to Walmart, what did you do?
I had to sit in the car.
You had to sit in the car?
Yes.
What did Henry do?
He went inside Walmart.
While sitting in the car, he innocently fiddled with his father's phone.
For a written record, what is Mr. Dinkins doing?
He has scanned 1 bottle of bleach, but from the receipt we can tell that he scans it twice to pay for 2 bottles.
And then how does he pay for it?
With cash.
After Henry got back to the car, FN noticed the bleach. They then went to Credit Island with his father, where Henry grabbed some bleach and a machete before heading into the woods alone, leaving FN waiting in the car.
So he could go fishing with them? Where were you?
In the car. I had to sit in the car by myself.
You sat in the car? Did you see your dad get anything out of the car?
He complained he grabbed some bleach, and what I saw in his trunk, he pulled it out. It was a knife.
He had some bleach?
Mm-hmm.
And a knife?
Yeah. Bleach and knife.
What kind of knife?
It's some big knives.
He used the machete to clear the brush and then hid her remains, pouring bleach over everything to erase his DNA. When he returned to the car, FN asked what was going on. He made up a story, saying he had been fishing with friends earlier that morning.
Do you know where he went fishing this morning? Do you think you could take me that way?
I don't remember that way.
What if I drove you down that way?
It's a long way.
That's okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember where he was at.
Okay. So
just a place that he got stuck.
He got stuck? His car
He needed another push.
Who helped push him?
The 6 people that he went fishing with.
So this morning, after your sister left, he came back and got you, and then he went fishing. Did you see his fishing poles?
He didn't have any.
He didn't have no fishing poles?
He bite it for he can fish with them.
He what?
He barred it for he can fish with them.
So he had the fishing poles?
He borrowed them borrowed the fishing poles from other people?
Did you actually see your dad with fishing poles? Or did he tell you he went fishing?
He told me he went fishing.
But he left you in the car?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you saw him with bleach and a knife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big knife.
A big knife. And he cleaned it?
Yeah.
Okay. What, did you ask him about that?
No.
Okay.
It's disturbing to think that he not only committed such a terrible act against a 10-year-old girl, but also involved his 8-year-old son in trying to hide the evidence. After leaving Credit Island, they went back to Henry's RV, where FN stayed in the car while his father cleaned the machete with a rag and stored it inside the RV.
Where did he grab that knife from?
His trunk.
His trunk?
And then he washed it off.
He washed off what?
The knife.
Washed it off with what though?
Some bleach and some, a rag. He washed it off with a rag.
At this point, Henry took various measures to hide his actions. He covered Bree's body with brush and poured bleach at the dumping site. Inside his RV, he cleaned with bleach and wiped down the machete used at Credit Island. Throughout the morning, he made purchases with cash, believing his phone was off, and he thought he had successfully covered his tracks. It was only then that he informed Aisha about Bree's disappearance. After Bree's body was found in March 2021, Henry became the main suspect.
The man charged with the murder of 10-year-old Breasia Terrell of Davenport has pleaded not guilty.
Henry chose a bench trial, where a judge determines the verdict rather than a jury. This decision marked the beginning of his legal journey. The trial wasn't straightforward, as there was a lack of physical evidence. Even though authorities searched Henry's RV, they couldn't find Bree's DNA, likely because Henry had cleaned it thoroughly.
That angled cabinet, is the sink located above that?
Yes.
Was the bleach bottle stored underneath there?
Yes.
Bleach was found near the bed, and a machete was hidden above the microwave. White fibers suggested it had been cleaned recently.
As I was looking at it, I could see what appeared to be some type of white cloth or paper on the serrated edge.
Likewise, Bree's DNA was not found in the Impala, indicating that Henry had likely cleaned it too.
Was there any trace evidence that connected any of the items you examined to Breasia Terrell?
No.
At the dumping site, decomposition had obscured physical evidence, though marks from a sharp object on branches suggested the machete had been used. Despite the absence of direct evidence, Jared Brink's testimony was crucial. The prosecution heavily relied on video footage showing Henry driving around and buying bleach.
At 2:29 a.m., headlights are captured leaving a lot off Schmidt Road. That's the same lot where Dinkins' RV was parked. From 2:51 a.m. to 2:53 a.m., we see a sedan entering Credit Island and then leave.
The testimonies of FN and Andrea were key in the case. FN, who was 11 years old by 2023, recounted what he saw that morning. Considering all the evidence, the judge reached a verdict. Despite the lack of substantial physical evidence, the combined testimonies of Andrea and FN, along with surveillance footage, led to Henry Dink's conviction.
The defendant, Henry Earl Dinkins, is guilty of the offense of, under count 1, murder in the first degree in violation of Iowa Code Section 707.2, paren 1, paren B, and guilty under count 2, kidnapping first degree in violation of Iowa Code Section 710.2, as contained in the trial information filed by the state of Iowa.